It's time to quake. That's a good quake. Hold. All right. Blow them up, boys. Yeah. Isn't that awesome? Dead. What do you guys think? Earthquake's pretty dope, right? Oh. Dead. Big. Dead. That's awesome. Oh, big quakes. Nice, smooth level up here. Okay, 5 out of 5 earth enchantment, big scalar. And then finally we get the last bit of earth attunement unlocked. Big damage. We're just continuing to crank. Might will contribute to both resolve and fitness. Fitness is strike damage scalar and resolve is fire damage. That was 2. That was... Holy quake. Alright boys, it's time for pan.
Hurry up! I'm getting bored, and I hate being bored.
It's time for pan.
You think you come here so I can crush you?
Hold.
I've had enough of it.
There's no way that hit me. That's pretty good damage though, huh? Hello gamers, welcome in. My name's Criplunk. We just killed Pan on our Earthquake Slammer. This is an Elementalist. It's all around this ability called Earthquake. It's got free charges and it lets out a ginormous quaking reverberation. So Elementalist is Storm and Earth. We're gonna spec into Blink and Frost Nova for, you know, quick engages. That was my concept. But the core gist of Earthquake is you need 6 divinities, so after you kill the bird, you spec right into Earthquake, which is this skill here. The most important bit when you spec into it is, first and foremost, fast channel. Secondly, extended charge. And then thirdly, heavy impact. You can basically get all of this as soon as you kill the bird. And then finally you want aftershock. You can try out stone protection. This might be better later when mobs get really hard, but I found 15% less damage taken wasn't really necessary. The CC immunity is what the nice thing is. Sometimes you get stunned, sometimes you get slowed, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's all about Earthquake. And as you can see, it deals strike damage. So we are dumping all of our points into might. And then, so after that, because it is a spell, you want to get as much spell damage as possible, and it is also tagged as area, so you want to get area scalars on your gear as much as possible. After that, we did pick up Earth Enchantment. Earth Enchantment is perfect for this type of build because it increases fire and physical damage by a percentage. This is boosted by one and only one modifier. We will get like stuff like Flame Shield and perhaps Conservation later on, but the only thing you need is for 5 points into Earth Enchantment, which further increases this from 20 to 60%. You could put more points into it and get other things, but I found that I didn't need anything else. We have a few points in Flame Volley. Fast projectiles is maxed, and orbit is 1 out of 5. What this does is when you spend energy, which Earthquake constantly does until you let go, you can see my number 1 ability on the hotbar is generating what's called Amplify, and when you have Amplify and you're near enemies, it will expend Amplify stacks to shoot fireballs at nearby enemies. So that's pretty powerful. We're going to scale this all the way up. One other really important thing about Flame Volley is that when you take the next skill, Ignite, this is another big part of our build. You can trigger Ignite off of Flame Volley. The Ignite spell ignites a mob, literally, it says it in the title, and then they take fire damage every half a second. All of this is scaled off of spell damage and fire damage. The goal is you don't want to manually spam Ignite. You can use it occasionally, but you want to get 2 Ignites out, one from a Flame Volley and one from a manual cast. And the reason that this is so cool is because when Ignite ends, it explodes in an AoE, dealing fire damage and proliferation 1 point. It requires 2 capacity, but 1 point. It will jump to another mob. So you're basically spreading proliferation just by consuming energy. Consuming energy creates Amplify from Flame Volley, and Flame Volley procs Ignite. So it's a whole circle. And most mobs blow up before all of this really reoccurs a ton. But as mobs get stronger, this passive damage is just so nice. And then also finally, we just put a few points into Ring of Flame. I always like to play with permanency. There are definitely some very cool play styles that you can get away with not using this as a permanent buff, because there's movement speed bonuses when you take the permanency off. But basically, Ring of Flame is exactly that. It's a circle of fire around your character, right? And it works the same way as Flame Volley with Amplify. The radius gets larger.
I don't get many visitors.
Right, so you can see how it got expanded to the same size as her Earthquake. And at our current skill point allocation, we have one in permanency to make it a permanent buff, and then 2 out of 3 a weakening heat, just to reduce their cold and fire resistance and also armor value. Remember, armor is strike and pierce armor, and then cold res is cold res, and then fire res is fire res. We're dealing fire and strike damage. Shredding their armor and their fire res is great for this build. So that's the core tenets of Earth. We'll go over quickly our passives. We picked out Grand Magic. This is, remember, our spell percentage modifier, and then flat energy. You need energy as a caster, obviously. Our 2 feats we chose is spell damage and cost. You can do ailment chance if you're playing like slightly different build. Increasing the cost is not very big deal at all, especially for the sake of getting 30% spell damage. 30% spell damage is really huge here. Let me move my head out of the way so you guys can see that. Spell damage and cost, that's the first one we picked. And then the second one is crit hit chance. Really nice there. And then moving up the tier, once we unlocked tier 2, you can get this very early. Earth Attunement, max that out as soon as you can. Increase fire damage, increase fizz damage. Strike damage is a physical damage type. So you want to max that out as soon as possible. You can also see the feats that we chose. Increase area damage, increase fire and spell damage with cast speed. The cast speed does really help us out. Not the channeling of Earthquake does not get affected at all by casting speed. It has its own modifier called ability action, which you can't influence at all other than Earthquake's modifier. So anyways, but the whole point is, again, remember, Earthquake is a area tag, right? So area, so that passive, that increases, that increases area damage and spell damage. That's just what you want. And then moving up to tier 3, we just started working on combustion. 20% increased fire damage. When you kill a burning enemy, you have 25% chance to cause an AoE explosion, dealing fire damage in a radius. That's huge. We're working on chance for explosion. We just picked that up, and then ideally we would pick up another, probably radius, who knows, but the second feat's not that big of a deal. There's plenty of other damage that we can get from, like if you can add overload to, I think, ignite, excuse me, one of the abilities has overload. You can work on that. There's a magma shell. If you need more armor and health, this is really, really good to be able to stand in place. We are ideally going to start really, really working on tier 3 abilities. You can get where is it? If we can get rage into this build, this might be peak. The Raging Storm, increased damage and then increased rage effect. I'm not sure exactly how to get rage, but you can see we started working on the base energy regen and increase energy. The only thing you really need here is 30 flat energy. That would be good. Also, energy reservation might be nice too, but there's plenty of spell damage to be got from tier 2 and 3 for Storm. And then ideally we're going to go into Ice Nova. We're going to blink into mobs. You can freeze them on engage. You can stun them on engage. And then if that fails, sometimes it fails, you can guarantee with flash freeze. And then Earthquake will be very, very easy. So that's that's going to be the rotation in the future. And then you also can get some armors like Frost Armor, which is cold retaliation when you get hit. And then same thing in Earth Enchantment. You can get Stone Skin. Stone Imbuement. One more, Flame Shield. It's fire damage retaliation, basically. The problem with both of those two armors is that it reserves even more energy. So, but you can see, I'll put some footage on screen. There's plenty of damage already just with slamming all our attributes into might to scale resolve for fire damage and fitness for strike damage. Earthquake is all strike damage, and fire damage comes from Ring of Flame, Ignite, and Flame Volley. So, okay, that's the build. We will continue this. We'll min-max it. I'll put it online if you guys want to see it. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!